it's Amy from raisingarrows.net, and today I want to talk to you about something that I'm really excited about. But first, I got to give you a backstory. I have a 4-year-old who is extremely busy. His name is Creed. He's cute as a button. I love him dearly, but sometimes he's like Crazy Creed. That's sometimes what we call him. It's Crazy Creed because he is just a really hands-on, rough and rowdy little boy. In fact, more so than any of my other boys. I have a lot of boys, but he's just different. He has always been like this. He's just kind of one of those kids who full tilt runs into things. He pummels his siblings. He always wants to wrestle. He's always looking for something to do. He's just busy, busy, busy. So I wanted to do this YouTube video about some things that we have found to occupy his day and how we're implementing those. And I've got some really great resources for you. I've got lots of props here. You can't see them yet, but I'll bring them up here in just a second. So I want to start by telling you about our Operation Occupy Creed. We finally decided that we had to do something about his day because letting him just do whatever he wanted to was not working. He needed to have some structure. He needed to have some sort of supervision almost all the time. So we sat down, my kids and my husband and we put together a structure for Creed's day, and we called it Operation Occupy Creed. But this would work for any busy toddler or preschooler that you have. Now, I will have to interject the fact that I am relying on my older children to help out as well in this. Back when my oldest son was a toddler, he was very busy as well, but there was just one of him. So there was one of me, one of him. You know, I could kind of give him some space here and there and we were fine. But now with Creed being number 8, there's a lot of other people older than him and a lot of people, 2 people, I guess, younger than him. So he's got a lot of people that he could bug, and he does. He's just like that. He's kind of like this catalyst, this constantly moving catalyst. And he's super cute about it, but it's not very well received by most of his siblings, so we needed to be real hands-on with him throughout the entire day. So I did call in the troops, and my older kids are helping in this project. So in my little traveler's journal here is where I put his daily schedule. And I am just going to read it to you. That is, if I can find it. Here it is. This is the plan for Creed, Operation Occupy Creed. So his morning buddy is his 11-year-old brother. His 11-year-old brother does not have as much schoolwork as the other kids do, the older kids. And so he is more flexible, where he can play with Creed in the morning hours and get most of his schoolwork done fairly quickly in the afternoon hours or later morning. And he will go back and forth sometimes. If Creed's having a really good day, then he can get some of his work done in the morning as well. And I just gave him some ideas for things he could do. He could do outside time, he could do indoor activities, and he could pull out some busy bags or toddler boxes. And I'm going to tell you about those in just a second. Those are my props that I brought. And then in the early afternoon, which is like after lunch until about 4 o'clock, is my daughter and I, my 16-year-old daughter and I. Now, Creed is fine for lunch. We get him his lunch, he eats, great. But in the early afternoon hours, he needs to have somebody helping him out. And this is somebody who can help him with school. So that's why it's me or my 16-year-old. And just some little activities that he might be doing. So even if he's doing something with the rest of us, my daughter or I are his buddy. And the same with my 11-year-old in the morning. He's the buddy. So he's not necessarily having to constantly occupy him or entertain him. He's actually sometimes just helping him out with the project that the rest of us are doing. And so that's the same for the afternoon hours. Now, I am doing preschool with Creed in the afternoon, and the reason that I'm doing preschool is because he needs it. Most of my other kids have not needed a real structured preschool program, but Creed does. And that's something that I've spent a lot of time researching, and I'm going to have many other videos about this because it's kind of an ongoing process, but I found some really great resources for teaching him for preschool that are very much in line with my philosophy for homeschool education. And the reason that I say that is because if you had talked to me a year ago or more, I would have told you that I was not a preschool homeschooling mom. No way, no how. I don't homeschool preschool. I just let them play and I let them explore and we talk and we have great adventures, and that's their homeschool. I even wrote a post about it called the Wonderment Curriculum about how that's what I expect my preschoolers and toddlers to do, is to just enjoy God's creation and be out there, just the wonderment of it all. However, Creed, while he's exploring, he's also running into his siblings and knocking them over and being crazy. So I realized I needed to find some very structured play, if you will, for him. And I did a lot of searching for that. And I'm not quite ready to tell you about the conclusion I came to, but I will be very soon, I promise. But I am going to share some resources with you here in just a second. I just can barely stand it. Okay, at 4 o'clock is our movie time, and so he doesn't need to be watched during that time. We tidy up right before that, and then we go into movie time, and that is until supper time for us. And so that just gives him something to do while I and the big kids are working on supper, because it was seeming like every single day that was the time when my kids just melted down. And there I am needing to cook supper, and they're needing a break, but they're going crazy and I couldn't really find anything for them to do. Now, when it's nicer outside, right now it's really hot. When it's nicer outside, I will probably throw them outside at 4 o'clock as well. So transition between movies and throwing them outside to play, because they need to get outside in the sunshine too. But right now, the only time they can really do that is later at night and early in the morning. So at 4 o'clock, he's watching a movie. He's fine there typically. Sometimes he's kind of getting into things, or he's stepping on his siblings or something like that. But most of the time, he's doing pretty good, especially if he gets to choose the first movie that gets watched. So he's really great with that then. All right, and then his evening buddy is my 12-year-old daughter or my 19-year-old son. My 19-year-old is either back from classes or back from work, and so he's able to be Creed's buddy at that point as well. And they just kind of work off and on the same way that my daughter and I work in the afternoon. So they will help him get ready for bed. They'll occupy him if there's anything that needs to be done. If he's kind of getting unruly, they will distract and redirect. That's kind of what we do with Creed a lot, is distract him and redirect him and help him make better choices, because the choices that he tends to make are, somebody didn't do what I wanted them to do, so I fell on top of them. You know, that's not really a great choice. That's not going to serve him well as an adult. So we're trying to help him make better choices, and sometimes it's just a matter of just getting him away from the situation. So that is his evening, and he goes to bed between 8 and 8:30, and I do have to sit in the room with him. It's him and his two older brothers who are 6 and 8, and I do sit in the room. We say prayers, and then I usually sit there with my laptop, and I just continually shush them because they like to talk. So we'll talk a little bit, and then it's like, okay, it is now bedtime, and I will sit there so that I'm not like making eye contact with them, and I will work, and then they will eventually nod off to sleep. Sometimes I'll put on some soft music, but my 6-year-old says it keeps him up, so I don't do that real often, but that's what I'm having to do, because for my 4-year-old, it is really difficult for him to slow down at all, even to slow down to sleep. He hasn't taken a nap in years. And if he were to take a nap, when he accidentally takes a nap now, he's up really late, and that's not very helpful either. He really needs to sleep, but he has trouble getting himself slowed down enough to sleep. So me sitting in there is kind of a comfort for him. Okay, now for those props that I'm so excited about to show you. So you may have seen on Instagram where I was reading this book here, and you can see I have lots of bookmarks in it. And get the glare off of it, maybe not, but it's the Homegrown Preschooler, Teaching Your Kids in the Places They Live by Kathy Lee and Leslie Richards. And it is just this beautifully colored, informational about leading your preschoolers in play and things that can be done just around your home and just growing them up alongside your family and being a part of your family. So all of my little bookmarks here, and I've taken out some because I've already implemented some, but these are all things that I want to try. There's even recipes in here, and I've got some of those marked too that I want to try. But one of the things that she talks about in here are boxes, toddler boxes. Now, I've had a toddler box for years and years and years. I even have written about it on the blog, where we had all sorts of things piled into this box. It was about like this, and that was something that my toddler could get out during school time and play with to keep them occupied. So I've done that for years. However, the thing that she does differently is her toddler boxes are separated out individually by activity. And I read some of the suggestions that she had, and I decided that I would do the same thing. I would separate them out. And I will have to say that it was brilliant, because they actually play with them more than they did with the toddler box that had all the things piled into it. They're playing much better, much longer with the toddler boxes when they are individually done. So I'm going to show you a few of mine here. This is just a regular little, what is it, Sterilite. So it's a Walmart brand. Boy, that glare is really bad. So inside it, see, do you know what those are? They're pool noodles. Isn't that cool? So I just bought pool noodles and I cut them up, and they become like little beads, only they're very easy to handle. And then I bought, these are shoelaces that I bought, or paracord, maybe they're paracord, and then I just I took a lighter to the end to kind of seal them off. But this is just regular old paracord, and you could do a shoelace or something like that, but they are able to bead these and put them on like that, and they're nice and big for toddlers. And my 4-year-old at this point, his manual dexterity is not real great. Usually at age 4 I have my kids doing the Rod and Staff ABC series, and he is just not quite able to do that. He's still so rough and tumble and into things that it's really difficult for him to do that. So this is going to help him with that manual dexterity, and so they can even do like a little pattern or something like that. But there's plenty of paracord and pool noodles in here. And a pool noodle, that is really hard to say, by the way. Those are very inexpensive, so you just cut them with a pair of scissors or a knife, and you can easily go through that styrofoam and make yourself some beads. The next one was something new to me. So I'm a Play-Doh fan, even though I know it's a big mess. But when she talked about this stuff, I thought, ooh, I think I gotta get me some of that. It's called Floam. And it's the weirdest stuff, and it never dries out. So it's just like these little tiny balls of styrofoam. I don't even know what makes this work, but these little tiny balls of styrofoam. Now, this was 8 smaller packages of different colors. Yeah, not anymore. I'm not even going to bother next time when I am going to order another set, because this is just not quite enough, because usually I have about 4 kids who want to play with it at one time. So I'm going to buy another set of this Floam. I got it off of Amazon, and I'm just going to squish it all together when I first get it. I'm not even going to bother trying to make it stay in separate colors, because it just doesn't last. And then the last toddler box I'm going to show you, this was something that she mentioned, and I had this moment from my childhood, because my mom used to do this for me. I went down to the store and I bought super cheap paintbrushes, and they're 3-inch paintbrushes, and they're just beyond cheap. I didn't want to buy anything super expensive. But I put them in this tub. I also have a mesh bag that has some items in it. And what these are 2 different things that have to do with water play, but they're very contained. So these paintbrushes are for painting the house with water. I used to do that when I was a kid. I loved it. My parents had a cabin, and it was on this little mud puddle of a lake, And we would go out there and work on the cabin. And while they worked on the cabin, I had my little bucket and my paintbrush, and I was painting the cabin along with them. And I have such fond memories of that. And so when she mentioned that in the Homegrown Preschooler, I was like, oh, I have to do that. So I got this tub and the paintbrushes. I have 4 of them because, like I said, I have 4 kids. It's usually the 2, 4, 6, and 8-year-olds who want to be doing everything together. And then this mesh bag is just the kind of mesh bag that you get for like lingerie, to wash lingerie in the laundry. And what I put inside of it are sink or float items. So I have cork, I have little fishing lures that don't have the hooks in them. I have a clothespin, I have a pacifier in there. I have a little multi-link cube and a washer and a rubber band and just all kinds of things that I've just gathered up that I put into this mesh bag. And so another activity that can be done with this tub is fill it up with water and then do the sink or float. So they make a prediction and you say, you know, you hand them an item and you say, is this going to sink or float? And they make a prediction and then they drop it in and, oh, did it sink or float? And it's just a fun little activity for them to do. So that is my final toddler box there. And these were real simple to put together. Now, the other thing I'm super excited about and want to share with you is a book that I got from another blogger. Her name is Sarah McClure, and she wrote this book, Busy Bags Kids Will Love, and it is awesome. It is an awesome book. The reason it's so awesome is not only because it has, like, you know, full color everything, but because it's super easy. It's super simple to implement. You can easily buy these things at the store super cheap, put them into bags, and you have very simple busy bags that your kids will love. They will absolutely enjoy these busy bags, and it doesn't take you a lot of money or time to put together. Now, that said, I had not really been able to find the time to put these busy bags together. I kept thinking I was going to get my 16-year-old and we were going to go to the store and we were going to buy all this stuff and we were going to put it together. But with a special needs baby and my crazy creed and all kinds of stuff going on, I just couldn't find the time. And I had a dear friend who said one day, hey, is there something I could do to help you out? And I had a particularly rough day with Creed. He'd been just crazy all day long. And I immediately thought, oh, I want those busy bags done. I really think those busy bags would help. And this has been a while ago now, but she gladly picked up the book. I sent some cash with her, and she went down, and this is what she brought me back. I'm like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. I was amazed. She and her older children, she doesn't have any small children at home anymore. They put together these busy bags for my little Creed and my Aspen, and they love them, love them. And we're talking about very simple things. So this bag is, let me just pull one out here for you. This is so fun, so fun. I love this. Okay, so this is just a paint stick. Oh, I got a terrible glare. Sorry about that, guys. I also don't know which way is right or left. So this is just a paint stick that they painted on these colors. And then there's all sorts of matching that can be done. So they just bought pom-poms. Up where I don't drop them. So they bought these, I can't do. Okay. These pom-poms, you know, the little ones that you just buy at the store, and clothespins that are colored. And so there's lots of different activities. So like my 2-year-old, she really can't pinch a clothespin and put it on. She doesn't quite have that concept, but she can lay this down and she can put the correct pom-pom on the correct color. So that all went into one bag. And then like my 4-year-old, he is working, you know, the manual dexterity. He can actually clip the right color to the right color on the paint stirring stick. So, I mean, really simple things. She also, they had just these big, they're not tongue depressors, but, you know, craft sticks, I guess is what they call them. It looks like a humongous tongue depressor. But same concept on there. She's got the ability, you know, to put the little pom-poms on the correct color. And so that's all in one bag. And there's bags that have letter things that they can do, so they can write letters with string on felt. And there's tons of ideas. She even brought me back one of these little rice and beads that have the ABCs on them, where Creed can look and find his name or cat or something like that. You know, he can look through that. And I mean, literally, look at this. This is like a treasure trove of things that he can do. So you don't just throw the whole box out there and say, oh, here's the busy bag box. It's one bag at a time. And I do think it's a great idea to put it in a crate like this. Again, I'm going to show you that book just real quick, because you'll want to get a copy of this. This is, again, super easy stuff. There's tons and tons and tons of ideas in here that are so much fun. But do put them in a tub. I keep mine actually put away in a cabinet. They're in the same place where my toddler boxes are. So when Creed is having a moment and needs to be distracted and redirected, this is often how we do it. We often pull out one of these, and one of the kids or I will pull it out, and that will be something that he does. And you'll see on Instagram, I'm going to post some photos on Instagram too of things that he's been working on, because they're just fun. I like to do them with him. And so that's why I'm so excited about this, is because they were super cheap, super simple. I'll have some links down in the show notes for you to the different things that I talked about today. And I'll also have some posts down there that you can reference on my blog at raisingarrows.net. I'd love to have you subscribe here on my YouTube channel. I try to offer lots of things for families and homeschooling and homemaking. And I try to give you some great resources like these. So make sure that you subscribe and come back and watch more of my videos. If I should end it there or not. I never know how to end a YouTube video. It always sounds ridiculous. Bye.